I'm live. So, thank you so much for tuning in to watch our very first chat of the Happy Person series. I'm so excited. So, this Happy Person series is going to be a celebration of happiness and of the really diverse ways in which people look after their mental health, basically. We believe that your happiness is really, really important, and focusing on it is key to creating a joyful, successful and fulfilling life. So this week's collaboration is going to be with Jen from Tony and Jen's, and I've been following Jen and her partner in crime Tony online for a couple of years, and I just so enjoy their content. I really think they're such a shining example of healthy living and being intentional about creating a joy-filled life, basically. And I really think that Jen will have some fantastic insights to share with us about happiness. So I'm really excited that she agreed to be my very first guest, and I'm going to invite her to join the chat now. So this is the first time I've done this, so let's see how it goes. Here we go.
Hello.
See you. Hi.
Well done. It's always really nerve-wracking that you're like, is this actually gonna work?
I know. I was like, don't look too nervous. Just breathe. Just breathe.
How are
Thank
you?
you so much. So I'm just gonna adjust my camera here. Sorry, I'm a little bit. Can just see my chin, so that's no fun. This should be
You
better.
never know what it's gonna do, because whenever you split the screen, then you've got like my face is taking up half of your screen now.
Yeah, should have prepared. Okay, I'm all good. So how are you? How's your day been?
Great, really good. It was an unusual Friday. We went up sleep dinner today, which I kind of forget how tall it is until I start walking it, and then I realize that it's like a massive undertaking. And we had a group of ones that we work with up, a group of corporate clients, and Tony gave a really nice rousing speech because he's a PT. He's kind of always had that like ability to get everybody really excited about it, and it really stuck with me the whole way up. I was like, you're very motivating.
Funny when it's someone you're really close to and then you see them really in their zone, you're like, whoa, you're actually really good at this.
Yeah, massively. But yeah, it was lovely. It's so nice to get up there.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Good way to kick off the summer as well. Some real time in nature.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, look, I prepared some questions, so I'm just going to fire away. So we're talking about positive mental health practices and happiness, and I wanted to start with asking you, what makes you feel like a happy person?
I am at my happiest in the most boring possible way. Like, it really doesn't take too much to make me happy. I like sitting and watching TV with my partner and having really like a cup of coffee in the morning. Like, I just love having a few minutes to sit there and wrap my hands around it. And I love getting out and getting a good walk. Like, every morning, I have to walk every day because I've got two crazy dogs.
Yes.
And if I don't walk with them, they become even crazier. So it's kind of about, I guess, prevention for me with happiness. I just make sure that I do things every day that don't necessarily make me like scream with joy or like dance with happiness, but just little things that kind of like add up. If there's like a happiness barometer, they just kind of keep me like ticking over.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Those little simple things I really think are the best as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So tell me about your business and what you do and how that brings you joy and happiness, and how you sort of tie in your passion into like making it into an actual career. Because some people, I think everybody will know who you are and what you do, but tell us anyway, just in case.
Okay, so Tony and we ran a restaurant on the Lisburn Road, and it was serving food that is nutritious and that when you eat it you feel really good afterwards. Sometimes you would have a meal if you were out in a restaurant and you maybe feel a bit like, oh, why did I eat so much? Where what we aimed to do was to give people a chance to eat food where they kind of almost bounced out. Maybe not quite like that, but where you felt really good leaving it. So we had that restaurant and then we closed down with COVID, and now we do all of our work online. So we do cooking demos and live interactions. We do it both through our own page and also through some corporate stuff we do, and also we work with a group of females as well in it. So it's kind of everything we do is sort of interlinked, and it's all my part of it is making sure that people can see that food can be something that's really lovely, that it doesn't necessarily have to be like a cream bun that gets you excited and gives you joy, but you can have that same pleasure and that same happiness, but from like a really good bowl of oats. Sounds dull, but you can make them really good.
Yes, if anyone is skeptical, just like type in Tony and Jen's sexy oats and you will definitely be converted. I actually I'm sort of on a bit of a food journey myself. I had gestational diabetes with Finn's pregnancy, and food was so restrictive, and I hate dieting. Yeah. I never diet. So it was a really, really difficult thing for me. So once I gave birth, I went completely the opposite way and just ate all the carbs and all the chocolate and all the trash of the day. And then I really have had to balance out, because it makes, like you said, it doesn't make you want to bounce anywhere. It just makes you, like, you're like, oh, I love this. And then you feel rubbish after. Well, I felt rubbish afterwards. So the other day I was on your website and I tried out your sweet potato chocolate brownie recipe, and Shay Phoenix was like, I don't really want to eat it, mommy. And I was like, just try it, you know. And he was like eating the batter, and he was like, this is really nice. You can tell that there's sweet potato in it. And he was so excited, and it just made me really happy. So I think that's a good example of what you were talking about.
I love that. That's kind of what food is, something for me that is not just something that you have to eat. Like, it is the centerpiece of so many wonderful things. It's how, like, you always remember going for a really nice dinner with your friends, or like celebrating your birthday with an ice cream, or like today whenever we were up Sleeved Honoured, I brought a little like pot of overnight oats for everybody. And like, it doesn't even really matter what you're eating, as long as you have everyone together. It helps to have that like sense of community, and there's just a real, food is so important for me. And like, food really helps, I think, bring happiness to people in so many different ways, through a sense of community, or through it just tasting really good, or through baking with your son, or, you know, whatever it is. There's so many things to it. It isn't just like, oh, I need to eat a sandwich because I need fuel.
I know, that would be so boring if food was just like seen as fuel, or if you get into a habit of that. I think sometimes you can fall into a bit of a habit around that, we lose a bit of the joy around the process of a meal or sharing food, especially because like you said, it really is a sense of community and connection. I think a lot of people connect over food, like think families that eat together around the table, you know, once a day or a couple of times a week, you know, all that. There's a lot of evidence on that about how it really fosters much more positive connections between, you know, adults and children and couples and all that type of stuff. So yeah, it
really helps with longevity as well. As far as I'm aware, that's one of the reasons that people in the blue zones live so long, because they have that, like, every day without fail, they sit down together, they have a glass of wine, they have a really great dinner, and that is like their kind of support. That's their way to wind down and just feel good.
I love that. Yeah, that it's so true. It's so true. And then I think a lot of the times, like, people don't think about the negative effect of not doing that. There's not just a positive effect, but if you're just eating on the run, you know, you're like, your stress system and all your cortisol levels are still pumping, and that actually literally shuts down your digestive like system. It doesn't function properly when you're not in a calm state. So you, like, food is less nutritious basically if you're not enjoying it. So
it really doesn't matter what you're eating if you're like shoveling it in between, like racing between two things.
No, it's not a good idea. Oh, that's really cool. Some good insights there. So, in terms of your business and what you're doing for work at the minute, is there anything exciting coming up or any specific thing that you'd like to share with us?
We are constantly working on loads of different things. There are a few things we're kind of doing at the minute, but I think like with the restaurant, everything was so full on, so busy all the time, like from like first thing in the morning to last thing at night. So what I'm doing at the minute is just really enjoying doing what we're doing, taking time to craft recipes and to like make food for people when we're going up the mountain. Whatever it is, it's just like actually like being there and being aware of what I'm doing. Like whenever we were in the restaurant, there would have been weeks that it would have gone by and I wouldn't even notice it happening kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing that's exciting is being present in what we're doing. So we have our female platform and we have our corporate stuff that we're doing. And then we're constantly developing recipes and things through this. And then I wrote like a little kids book thing, which actually you might like.
I'm sure I would like it. Why don't I
think
know
you
about
might,
this?
because you make those brownies in it. So the whole idea is that basically it's set in the future whenever people don't make any of their food at all. They just push a button and their food appears. So what happens is the girl pushes a button and then she gets like sucked into the world where all the food is actually prepared. And she travels around all the different places and finds out where the sweet potato is from, where the peanut butter is from, and how it's all made. And then you kind of collect the recipe ingredients as you go along, and then at the end of it, you have a brownie.
That's so cool. I love
So,
that. Very cute. Yeah. Is it published? Like, can we buy it somewhere?
no, not yet. So
Okay.
it's written. It's been edited by a girl I'm working with in London, and it is being illustrated at the minute. At least we're getting the main character illustrated, so it's all kind of like step by step coming together. So
Amazing.
hopefully soon.
Posted. Yes, I would love to see that when it comes out. And I just thought I'd mention the female way, that female part of it is awesome. Like that whole, I checked out the whole website, and because I know you'd launched it. Was it last year? I don't know.
It was whenever you were just pregnant.
That's the thing. Yes, I remember
So
it was in my radar, but I hadn't had a chance to really get stuck in. And yeah, and you cover all types of things like, about hormonal cycles and just all these different aspects to health and happiness that are specifically, feminine. And it's such a great
I think it's so important to know that as well. Like, one thing that we really talk about is just kind of focusing and being aware on what stage of your cycle you're at and what impact that can have on your mood, because like our hormones don't go like that. They go like that. So like we can't expect for our mood to then be like that all the time. So
yeah. And I love the positive spin of that though, because when people talk about hormones, it's nearly always in a negative way. It's not hormonal, or you're a bit crazy, or like you're all over the place. But the fact that there's so many different variations to how our hormones like come out and how we feel in the month is like such a superpower if you can get a grasp on it, and if you're aware of it. I just think it's fantastic.
It's just about understanding it, and it's not rocket science. It's literally just working out how you feel, taking a note of it, and then comparing how you feel the next month and seeing, right, there's a bit of a trend appearing here. And then like on some days you maybe won't be like full of beans and you just need to lie on the sofa for 2 hours instead of one. Or
yes. And I think for some people, like I was talking to my sister about that, and I'm sure she won't mind me sharing that, she struggles with mental health sometimes and bits of depression and stuff. And sometimes, just having a check-in and be like, oh, it's like the week before my period. Like, I'm going to feel more sensitive. I'm going to feel a bit down. So those, like putting a little bit of a reason behind it can just help you to accept it for what it is and sit with it and not feel like that it adds up and that it's all, everything's overwhelming, or, oh no, I'm going into another dip or something. There's a bit of a reason behind it, can just help it not to escalate in your mind, I think.
it makes you feel like you're not just going nuts for no reason. Like,
Yeah, there's a very good reason, and we need these hormones. Like, our bodies
yeah,
are amazing, and yeah, I just have so much appreciation for the female body right now. With the
I
year I've
imagine
been
you
through,
do.
and just look at my little like human, and I just can't get over it. Like, just even people who don't want to have children, just the fact that your body can actually do that, like
I
that
know.
humans can do that. It just, I could talk about that all day. It just blows
So
my
that's your happy then?
yes.
That's what makes you happy.
That's my happy right now. Yeah. Oh, so much oxytocin.
If only we could just bottle that and give it to people.
I know, I know. So this ties in quite nicely with my next sort of question. I wanted to ask you about, when things are difficult, or when you're going through like a really busy or stressful or a sad time in your life, like, because positivity, and I really always like to emphasize that it's not about pretending that everything's fine, but it's about, just thinking that things can get better when they are bad, or just learning more about yourself and how you deal with these things, so that you're a little bit more prepared, like you said, with the hormonal cycle. So is that one of the things that you do to sort of like um keep yourself on track, or like to help lift your mood and stuff? Like, tell us a bit about what you do for your mental health.
For me, like I said earlier, like I'm very much a case of prevention rather than cure. So I just try to keep things as level as possible. Like I really, really do well on plenty of sleep. So it's something that I try to make sure that I always have time to get, or try to make as much time as possible to get a good 8 hours in. That really helps me. Loads of water. I really notice that like sometimes I'm really cranky for no reason, and I'm like, I am so dehydrated, or I actually haven't eaten anywhere near enough yet today. Like there's so
I
many
see
small
Al pressing
things.
the heart button. He's downstairs watching us, and he is so always on me about hydration. He's the most hydrated person I've ever met. And he would remind me to drink water, otherwise I would probably just be parched all the time.
You just made me drink water.
There you
Yeah, so that, and like, yeah, making sure I'm eating enough and eating like really good food.
go.
I feel very energized whenever I eat lots of good food, loads of water, loads of sleep. Every morning I go for a walk because I have to, but also it's great that I have to because I would really like to do that anyway. And then whenever I'm walking, I do 3 things I'm grateful for, and then I do some affirmations, which is like a bit like it's a little strange, I guess. It's not for everybody, but over lockdown, I listened to loads of Oprah Winfrey. She is wonderful. She had this really great episode with JLo, which surprised me. I just kind of listened to it and I was like, all I could think about was her music and her like popping her butt and all that. I was like, what am I gonna get from this? But sure, I'll listen anyway. And she had some really lovely affirmations. So now, whenever I'm walking, I pick my 3 things I'm grateful for, and I make sure that I like process that I'm being grateful instead of just like saying it.
That's key, actually, because I think, especially for people who have maybe done a gratitude journal before, or are a bit aware of this type of thing, it's easy. And I find myself doing it sometimes. You sort of slip into like, right, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for this, 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 and this. But you're not actually feeling the gratitude. You're just doing it as like a little tick box. And I'm like, I'm sure that's not the right way to do it. So really
I don't know if it's necessary or not. I just always am like, just be aware that you're actually being grateful. And like, whenever I'm doing it, I'm always outside, so it's really easy to pick things that I actually am. Like, I compare it to kind of, often I'm outside and walking. It's about 6 or 7 in the morning, so it's really nice. It's quite quiet. I used to be in the restaurant prepping food at that stage, and I was always like, I'd love to be outside. So now when I'm walking, I'm like, okay, take that experience and bring it here, and that is what you are so intensely grateful for. That it's so nice to get that opportunity to be able to go for a walk and to have like legs to walk, like all the silly, like it's things that you kind of do take for granted. It sounds really
You
daft.
do it, like, but it's sort of impossible not to take things for granted, like sometimes, because like it's not novel to you. It's not, when
Yeah.
the novelty wears off, you have to really actively like try and be grateful, which can seem a bit weird to start with, but the way you talk about prevention instead of cure, I think is key for gratitude as well, because I've talked about this before, that during the hardest things that I've ever gone through, I have found myself bizarrely finding things to be grateful for right in the middle of these insanely, like, what could have been highly traumatic like moments, but found myself going, God, I'm actually glad that XYZ, because something, and turning to gratitude in those really difficult moments. And that is 100% just because I have practiced gratitude so much.
Yeah.
Sort of becomes second nature, so that when you hit a really difficult thing, it's just kind of there for you as a coping mechanism. You don't have to try so hard. And I just think that that's one of the great things about it.
It's so good. It's like you've worked the muscle.
Yes.
Like you've gone to the gym and worked your gratitude muscle.
Yeah.
I totally get that. Actually, whenever we lost my dad a couple of years ago, and whenever we did, it was the most lovely family time I've had in so long, because my sisters, my brother, and my mum and I were all together in my mum and dad's house for like 2 weeks. And like at that stage, the restaurant was in full swing. I didn't see anybody. I hadn't spent proper time with my family since I'd left the house at 18. So even though obviously it's like very sad that dad died, he'd like brought us all together, and it was so nice. And like it's really helpful to focus on that rather than to focus on how sad it is.
Yeah, because you're going to feel the sadness anyway. It's not like it's taking away any of it. That's the amazing thing about humans, is we can be like in the midst of like grief and yet be laughing our heads off at something stupid. It's like we can hold so many things at the same time. It is just, it's amazing, the human experience. Oh, so you've got a happy person t-shirt. Have you worn it? How did it feel?
As soon as I got it, I put it on. I was like, this is cool. It feels really nice. Like from a physical point of view, it feels lovely. Do you know, like when you wear something that feels like good quality, it's like a nice experience. But when I was wearing it, I kind of forgot I was wearing it. And I went and like picked up some groceries and came back, and the person that I met at the door of the house was like, "Oh, hello, happy person." And I was like,
oh, thank you. Oh, right.
How did you know? And like, I totally get that, like, you're not always a happy person, and that's fine. But sometimes it's just nice to see that. It's such a nice, warm, natural engagement. When often you would say to somebody when you see them, "Oh, well, like, how's your day? Like, what's crack?" or whatever. It was a nice kind of conversation starter, and in a very positive way.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. Yeah, it was really cool. And I've only worn it that one day, because my dogs are crazy and white and dogs is not good. So it'll be reserved for occasions. But yeah, I'm really excited to wear it again. I really like that reaction, and now that you've made me conscious of it, I'm gonna like be aware of how people react to it. I think like sometimes when you see the word happy as well, it can it
makes you smile. Honestly, I really think just having the word around does make you smile, and I kind of look out for reactions now whenever I'm wearing it and when Al's wearing his and stuff, and just people kind of sometimes double take a little bit, and then just they don't say anything, but they're kind of walking away with a little smile to themselves, like, "Oh, that's a bit of a funny t-shirt," or like, "Oh, he does look quite happy," or something like that. Yeah, it's nice, just a little extra positive moment.
Yeah, it's like subtle, kind of.
Yeah.
And you don't know the impact that stuff like that has. Like we used to have wee signs about the restaurant that said like "good vibes only," or just little things. And now we have them in the house. Yeah. And it's lovely. Like I don't notice them every day, but whenever I catch them and I'm like maybe not having good vibes, it's nice to see stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. It just helps you to sort of shift your mindset back a little bit to somewhere where you want to be. Like,
yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So we're teaming up to do a little giveaway for our Instagram followers, and our posts we'll be posting about it later tonight. So make sure you check out our Tony and Jen's and Itty Bitty Book Co, and you can follow on both accounts and enter the giveaway. We're going to be giving away a happy person t-shirt and a little self-care pack. Jen, tell us what's in the little self-care pack.
So, like I mentioned, how important sleep is to me. It's really important for everybody. So it's basically like a little snooze kit. So we have some blue light blocking glasses, magnesium spray, lavender oil, and then I'm gonna put together a little bedtime snack kind of thing.
That sounds amazing. Awesome. So good luck, everybody. Yeah, go and enter. It's going to be running until Sunday, and then I will contact the winner on Instagram. So Jen, thank you so much for having this chat with me and being part of our Happy Person series launch. And it was just so lovely chatting with you. You bring so much like positive energy and healthy vibes to the world. And thank you so much.
Thank you, and thanks for trying our brownie recipe.
It was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, now I have to work out how to hang up. Eek. Let's see.